Hello, hello, hello. You can see the meter on my mic thing is bouncing around, so you should, in theory, be able to hear me. Hi. Hello, AG Carries. Oh, it goes to Bodefeld. Wait, why was my message not allowed? Here's the clocks have changed in Canada because it's an hour earlier for me. Yes, the clocks have changed last weekend. Your message was not allowed. That's very odd. Maybe there's some. I haven't even checked the Owncast chat moderation settings. Maybe they're a little too high. I don't know. Anyway, hi. My first message was blocked. Very strange. I'll check that. I'm assuming I don't even know off the top of my head. I'll have to check the. I'm sure it's some kind of auto moderation or something. I usually default to too much, just cause obviously. So who knows? Anyway, I'm glad your second message got through. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, AI, huh? It's working out great. Hi, back at the build stream. Unlike last week, yeah, last week had to give it a miss, but not to worry. Everything's good for a change. And I even slept well last night, and I don't get to say that very often. In fact, as often the reason the build streams get skipped is because Kevin has a very bad sleep schedule, and I got to get my work done, and I usually don't have enough spoons to do both. So, Chop the Bud, hello, nice to see you on Twitch. Oh, I love this chat. I know I said this a lot last time, but I love this chat window. And the thing is, for technical reasons, I'm literally looking at the same screen that you are for reading the chat, so that's nice. But yeah, we're getting into the puppet thing. Let me know what the audio levels are, the music versus the mic, because I think they're good. If you can, there is music playing, FYI. That's the next new thing we're trying is I'm trying a new app. It's literally just because I'm on Linux. Can't load the Apple Music thing directly, but levels sound good to me. Good to know. Thank you. But the web player still works, and this way I'm able to get a little bit more variety. It's still StreamTunes, still our friends at StreamTunes, but they actually have a lot more of their stuff distributed through Apple Music, and you can still use it for streaming. In theory, hopefully no robots go, hey, that's music, that's got to be illegal. This stuff is licensed for streaming, it should be good. But there's just more variety than what I have downloaded and can play locally, so hopefully this won't stop. The problem is before I was using the web player or the build stream playlist before, and it would go for like, I don't know, 10 minutes or so and then just stop, and I'd have to manually restart it. This has been going for like an hour now, and so far it's been good. So it's called Cider, FYI. If you're on Linux and you're looking for a web-based app for just Apple Music, Cider seems to be all right. I mean, it is just a web player, but it's got the nice window Chrome and everything. So anyway, puppets, huh? Yeah, we're building puppets. This is the shirt, by the way, is a clue to why I didn't stream last week, because A, I slept poorly, and B, I had a lot of work to get done, and C, I had a concert to go to that evening. And I could only do so many of those things. And streaming, unfortunately, was the one thing that I had to drop because I just did not have the spoons to do all of those things. It does take energy and attention to do this. So I had to go, okay, what's the expendable thing here? Well, I got to get my work done. I got to go to the show. This was a VIP meet and greet for Kim Dracula. It was great, FYI. But yeah, no, so the one thing that was expendable was unfortunately the build stream. So we didn't do it last week, but we are doing it this week, and everything is good and fine, and puppets are being built. So we should probably talk about the puppets because that's why you're here. Where should we go? Maybe we should go to the wide cam so I can actually show what's on the table here. Let's try that. I'm not sure where this camera is. It might be in a bad place. Oh, it's all right. So yeah, we're working on a couple of Nernies. That's the agenda for this week, which is a fairly light thing, but I wanted to not overwhelm myself too much. So this is all that's happening this week. I usually try and do more than 2 puppets a week, but It is what it is. There was some experimentation happening here, so usually I try and keep it relatively light if I'm doing that. And you can probably see at the top of your head, there's 2 bits of experimentation happening here. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's go back to the face cam. I wanted to show this off. So the body for this one, you can see this is not fur. This is this really neat fabric. Yeah, the colors worked out accidentally well because, you know, they're just, so this one is for, I haven't asked permission to say who it is, so I won't. But this is for a member of the Operation Puppet family, somebody who is on our Discord. And they wanted a light blue. And no problem, got that. And I just happened to get some yellow fleece. And so it's like, this is accidentally the colors of like Easter or spring kind of thing, which is just appropriate for the time of year. So that was an accident, but I'll take it, you know. So I've been wanting to experiment with some non-traditional fabrics. That's one of the things I wanted to do this year. And of course, that's getting harder and harder and harder because, well, golly, imports are all messed up, aren't they? And Canada does not make a lot of faux fur and stuff domestically. So I'm having to sort of see what weird things I can get. And this was one of them. This came up. So look at this stuff. This is really, it's interesting and neat. I did talk about this, I think, on our last podcast. But I saw this come up when I was looking for fur. It ain't fur, but it's still neat. And I thought, oh, you know what? I could do something with this. This would make an interesting puppet. So just as an experiment, and it wasn't very expensive. So I'm like, okay, let's give it a shot. Let me put my watch on Do Not Disturb. I always forget to do that. There we go. It's shedding on me as we speak. But yeah, it's really cool and interesting. And there you go. It's got kind of a rag mop thing going on here. It looks like a duster. But I originally wanted to do like a live hands monster out of this. I think that would look really, really cool, right? Yeah, I never saw fabric like that before. It's very unique, and neither have I, so that's why I grabbed it. But the problem is, I don't think you can see this. Oh, you know what we can do? Here. This is the new handheld close-up cam. Let me see if you need a shot of me sitting in my chair. The nice part now is, so I just switched some cameras around for technical reasons. So this camera will not have the focus issues of the previous camera because it has no focus. This is an infinite focus camera. So it does mean we have a certain minimum maximum distance, but still we won't have that weird autofocus thing happening. But here it is up close. Yeah, that's not bad. Now you can kind of see the problem already. It's very, very thin. You can see the netting like really easily. It's a little tough to see, but yeah, the netting, and there's spots where it's even more bare. So it's very thin. I don't know what its intended use actually is. But yeah, it's very, very thin. So this unfortunately would not be a good candidate for, you know, a live hands monster, because to make like gloves out of this or something, you know, like sleeves, your fingers would end up poking through this in no time. And that's not robust. And as you know, I like to try and make my puppets as robust as possible. So this wasn't a good candidate for a live hands monster unless I did like a lining. In which case this would just be like a skin over top of that, and that would have been fine, but that also literally doubles the production time on the puppet, so that was a no-go, at least for the moment. But what it would be good for is sort of covering, as a skin covering something else, and so that's why, almost looks like the hair from the Gorgs. Yeah, exactly. It's neat. It is also very messy, like fur normally is quite messy to work with, but this stuff just like, you know, when you cut it, there's no way to get around it. You end up shedding these little fragments, are just all over the place. I had to ban Jimmy the cat from coming in because he just becomes a vacuum cleaner and starts, you know, trying to eat anything he can find on the carpet, whether it's food or not. So I had to like banish him from the room until I had a chance to vacuum because it was a lot. this whole floor was just like littered with these little yellow fragments. But yeah, so that's what I ended up using on the body for this Nernie, and I think it's really neat, and I think it looks really cool. It's quite unique. Don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this before, so we're gonna go with it. We're gonna give it a shot. It's the only color I was able to get it in as well, so its usage is going to be limited, obviously, but it's still interesting and neat. And the other thing, of course, is our lovely blue friend here has this nice long hair. And I haven't done a lot of stuff with long hair, or long human style hair, as it were, just because it's very tricky to work with. And obviously it's like, how do you do this? What are you going to do with it? Though the whole process of styling hair in a human style is it's a skilled thing, right? There's a reason why, like, you know, beauticians and hairdressers actually get trained to do that stuff. It's not just something you can pick up and do. So I've always been wary about it because, you know, and there's extra expense added on to the materials, of course, or you have to get the right stuff and everything. So I was always a little bit hesitant about it. There's limited stuff you can do. So what I ended up doing with this, it's a little bit longer than the remit of the build, but I'm wary of trying to trim this myself because I am not a trained hairdresser. So I'm making an executive decision. We're gonna go with this, and then we'll talk about it later. And I think the client may be able to find somebody who is qualified to style it. That's the important thing here is remember, you can shorten it, but this ain't real hair. It ain't gonna grow back. So whatever you do to it is done. You got one shot, and I don't want to ruin it. So what I ended up doing, let's see, what would be the best camera for this? Actually, probably this one. What I ended up doing was buying like an inexpensive costume wig, like a Halloween wig, basically, and then trimming it down. So to still use the front part of the wig, but when you see how a wig is actually put together, at least the cheap ones, you can get very expensive wigs that just look like human hair, and you could not tell the difference from looking. But the inexpensive ones are put together in, excuse me for standing up here, in what are called the wefts. Doll makers know a lot about this stuff. So a weft, which is just fun to say, is basically like either a piece or a strip of artificial hair, or sometimes natural hair. This is a good example. This is kind of like a weft. Weft sometimes will either be in long strips, or it will be in like individual, just little bundles, little pieces like that. But how these style of wigs are made is they're literally just like layers and layers and rows of wefts, just kind of stitched together on a netting backing. And these just get layered up. So from the front, you know, you can create something that looks pretty passable. But when you look at it from the back, they're just kind of like this kind of webbing mesh. The tricky part with the wefts, of course, is how do you close it up so you don't see, you know, the netting edge kind of thing. But it kind of gets put together in almost a coordinate pattern. So there's the crown, right at the top of the head, and then you've got side panels that go around the back. And so to cut this down to puppet size, all I really ended up doing was just cutting the crown bit out. And that has the nice finished edge on the front, as you can see. Right, so there's our nice finished edge where the part is. But it looks appropriate, right? The length looks good. It doesn't call itself out as something that seems off. So what I have yet to do, what I started doing was, the next question, of course, was, okay, I've got a piece of hair, basically a toupee, that will work with this, that is an appropriate enough length. And of course, we could always, you know, you can tie it back. There's lots of, leaving it longer, I'm going to suggest, leaves you more options. If you cut it down, then that's it. That's all you can do with it. But you know, this you can use like hair clips, and there's all kinds of things you can do with this. You can style it just like hair, because it's hair. But of course, the next question is, how do you attach it, right? So you've got a couple of options with how to attach it. When I've done this kind of thing before, I'm always working against the clock, obviously. So what I have done in the past, I've done the whole cut the crown bit out, and that gets you down to a usable size. It's funny to have the arm in the shot like that. But I've then gone and made, in some way, in this case I 3D printed, these little skull caps. This is just like a little cap. And what I would do with that, I can show it in this camera here with our yellow friend here, is I would then take the wig and glue it so we have a little kind of beanie that sits, and then that would get glued onto the top of the head. So we're not gluing the hair directly to the head, we're gluing the hair to the skull cap, and then the skull cap gets glued to the head, and that will hold it on there, and it will look pretty good. And then, like I said, I've done this before with that kind of thing, and it works well. The problem with it, of course, is that is one of those one shot is all you get, and it's essentially a destructive process because you're putting glue, right? And in the interest of working quickly, I'm usually using hot glue for this kind of thing, which is like, that is a one-way street. If you mess up with the hot glue, start again, because you have no other choice. But with this one, with the blue one, I decided I wanted to be a bit more careful, and I'll take a bit more time because it is for one of the family, obviously. So this one I'm actually stitching on by hand. See if we can show this. Actually, why don't I try maybe we can do it this way. This is going to be a bit shaky, Cam, forgive me, but this is a good, yeah, this isn't bad actually. This is a good way of showing, this is way more flexible than what I usually have to work with here. So if you can see, let me see if I can get this up to a point. What I've been doing, I've only got one edge stitched so far, but I've been basically ladder stitching. I know the focus is weird because there is no focus. There's where we have to hold it. But I've been ladder stitching this on. And of course, the nice part about this, doing it this way, is this is non-destructive. If you need to take this off, you can just pop those stitches and it will come off and not leave any horrible residue. So it's not necessarily removable, but it's non-destructive. Being a bit more cautious. Now, of course, what I haven't done yet is I've only stitched the front edge. I've got to go around the back and stitch the back end yet. So right now, we can do that. We can flip it up. So I've got to do basically 3 more sides. But it is stitched on the front. And of course, the fun part with that, and this is what I was talking to the client about this, it's like you get a lot of really nice secondary motion with this. Look at this. That's real good. You want that. This is, you know, and then you have opportunity, like performance-wise, to like do things, and you know, so yeah, it's gonna get in the eyes a little bit. I was pleased about how the part kind of just naturally falls in the middle here. So when we do put the eyes on, you know, there'll be a way we could put little hair clips or whatever. There's stuff you can do. You can use a bobby pin and do it invisibly so the hair will kind of stay in place. You know, there's lots of stuff you can do. Options is good. But yeah, just the second, and of course you can always headbang. That's the best part right there. There you go. Come on. Death metal puppets. What could be better? Yeah, so there we go. There's where we are with this one. So what we're doing today is I'm doing the same thing I usually do. We're going to finish them off. The hair looks really great. I know, right? I'm going to start doing this kind of thing more often because this is really fun. And it gives you a lot of design opportunities that you don't normally get with just using like faux fur and stuff. So maybe going more in the human direction, which is not the direction I expected to go. And you know me, I make monsters. So anyway, so what do we, ooh, that doesn't look good. Looks like they're trying to neg them. No, Me, I'm the focus of attention. So what we're going to do, among the things we're going to do today, is basically I got to finish these two. So they both need eyes. And this one I got to finish stitching the hair on. I won't do that on camera because that's dull and boring. And also very hard to show on camera because I have to be up here, just like, it's a bit of a struggle to like sort of place it in a position where I can get at the hair. It's very, very tedious to do that kind of thing. You got to move the hair out of the way and only stitch the netting, and it's very, very finicky. Not fun to do on camera, so I won't. But we do need to do eyes. These are both going to get only eyes. This one may get eyebrows. I haven't decided yet. But the design request for the blue one here is sleepy eyelids. And that actually, I think, works very well. Thankfully, I do have some darker blue. I thought, you know, when you do eyelids, the question then is what color you're going to do them. And it's always good to do either a complementary or a contrasting color. So if you're going to do a contrasting color with this, you'd want to go for maybe a pink, you know, or just something that is sort of chromatically the opposite of what the original color is. Or you want to go a darker shade of the thing that it already is. And I just happen to have some nice dark blue fleece that matches very well with the hair, right? So that will sort of tie it all together. And also for sleepy eyes, dark blue eyelids looks really appropriate. So that's what we're doing for one of them. The other one, I don't know if we're going to do eyelids or not. And let me show you why. While I finish my coffee, and we'll definitely be getting more. So here are the eyes. These are all my 3D printed eyes. And they're the nice sort of shallow hemisphere ones. And I also, oh, you know what? Yet another job for the handheld cam. I also have made these little kind of cups for them to sit in. And that will add a nice black ring, very much like Bert. These are very Bert eyes, which is appropriate for the nerdies because they've got the cone head thing going on. But these are nice because they have the option, right? I can like not use the ring and just have the eye, or I can use the ring. And it's these are just a little socket. They just sit in the little socket. Once again, 3D printers are so great for this kind of thing. And we've just got a standard threaded bolt with a socket on the back. And when these attach, again, it's nice because they're non-destructive, so you can remove them. Just screw this together, and then this sits on the front. And hard to do this on camera. There we go. There's. How long does it take to print a set of the most common eyes that you use? It really varies. It obviously varies by size. These weren't too bad. What I always end up doing is I always end up printing the bolt part at a higher infill rate, so they're stronger. So I'm trying to remember. It was about maybe an hour for a set of 2. And then like literally these little rings, I always print them separately, even though I've got the multi-filament thing, just because it's wasteful to be changing filament partway through a print. So I printed these separately, and these little ring things, these took like 10 minutes. These were less than no time at all. I literally threw these together in minutes this morning and printed them out just before the stream. But yeah, so these eyes took about, for a pair, these took about maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half. For something larger or more complex, like, oh, I don't know, here we go. We've got these. These are technically larger just because there's more plastic in them. These are like 35 millimeter full hemispheres. So, you know, you'll put the 2 of these together and you get a sphere. These maybe 2 hours or so. The thread on these bolts is a bit thicker, so they don't take quite as long because the head doesn't have to go around as many times. But yeah, for an average print of 1 pair of eyes, maybe about an hour, maybe 2. But again, it depends. Like if even slightly larger will take a exponentially longer amount of time. So I've had eye prints. If I'm printing a whole bunch, I'll have it go like 4 hours. Sometimes I'll just put it on and go to bed. It's probably not wise because it is a 3D printer and there's a hot thing. Probably should be monitored occasionally. So I don't know, safety first. But anyway, that's where we are with the eyes. So I don't think I'm going to do eyelids on the yellow one. Let's actually have a look at that. Golly, what camera would be good? I've got so many cameras and none of them are particularly exactly right for the thing I want to do. What a surprise. You know what, let's go to the top cam. So I can always, we'll take the blue one away here. Down here. This camera off to the side, and we can always just lay this down on the table and show it. So I'm thinking I might just do these. You know me, I like simple. Simple's always the correct option. Doesn't mean to say that complex is always bad, but you can't go wrong with simple. But I think maybe just, hello. You flipped the lid there, Kevin. Come on. I think maybe just, you know, just real simple. And we'll do a little tuft of hair on the top, and that'll be it. That'll be, you know, right back to the old Don Celine style. Very, very simple. But I think it looks great with the black rim around it. So I don't think we'll do eyelids for this one. I think we'll do these just as they are. So we will have, of course, have to make the mounting points, the holes for them, which will involve fire, you know, as usual. These are nice. One of the nice things I was able to do with the Nernys is to not have not have a seam that goes right down the whole middle. I was actually able to mirror the pattern at the face point, which is really nice because, you know, there's literally no seam there. The seam starts, as you can tell, here. But even then, what I do is I hand sew. I haven't blended this yet, so yeah, that's why you can kind of see it. But I'll hand stitch it up to a point, usually up to here, and from here down, it's machine stitched. But you'll hardly ever see the back. And I do hand stitch the lower jaw as well, just to make it a little bit more blended. You know, when I can do stuff like that, I do. So the head shape on this one was good for a mushroom character. Yeah, well, the Nernys have a really kind of interesting. This was again one of those things I just stumbled into. It was a complete accident. I just drew a shape and made it, intending to get to a cone head, and that's what we got. You know, in this view, but in the portrait view, as it were. It's different. So I've used this is what we used for one of the aliens last time. Very appropriate, I think. A pointy-headed alien. You know, because that's not a cone head. That's, I don't know what that is. Dome head. There's a certain resemblance, you know. But yeah, I think that's all we're going to do. We're going to do a little bit of hair on the top, simple eyes. But we, of course, also need tongues. And that's the next thing we're going to talk about, because although I think it was last stream that I talked about and demonstrated how to do a simple craft foam tongue, go back to this. So I have talked at length about my dislike of the Cricut, and I'm sure that was on the last stream that I talked at length about my dislike of the Cricut, which is what I have been using in the past. I need a lozenge, excuse me, for doing simple craft foam tongues, because the level of precision is just off the charts. It's also a nightmare to use, wasteful, and the company is horrible. And it's one of them .coms that wants to, you know, loop you into their ecosystem and charge you all kinds of subscription fees, etc. And I think we're all kind of tired of that nonsense. So who needs it? And we were talking last time about like, oh, what about, you know, just getting like cookie cutter style punches? And that'd be great. But of course we need very specific shapes. Well, that got me thinking, got me looking around a little bit. Where did I put these things? Is that them there? This might be them. I haven't even opened the box yet. This is how we're doing an unboxing. And I found these, and I literally found them on Amazon. I apologize. I know I'm trying to not use Amazon as much as possible, but I just happened to stumble across these. And these are leather punch dies. And these are kind of exactly what we were talking about. Now, you are limited in shape, but we can work with this. there are ways around this. But what they are heart-shaped dies. And these are metal, and they have they're like a blade on the end. So as you can see, that's real close to the kind of thing we need for a tongue. In fact, it's exactly right, except for the tip is too pointed. But that's an easy fix. That we could just round off. And other than that, perfect shape. And also a lot of different sizes. Like, I've never made a tongue this small, and yet now we can, right? So I think this is gonna work out really well. And of course, if you want, now this is the biggest, which is still not as big as some of my bigger ones. Take that out of context. But these are still pretty darn good. Like, this is too big for the Nurney. We're actually gonna have to look at which size, but this is maybe 2 sizes down. This is about my standard sort of greebly sized one right there. And I think these are gonna be really handy. So if we wanted to do a more sort of, a stubbier, blunt style tongue, all we need to do is just cut it off. Once we stamped it out, just cut it off on one axis and then kind of smooth that down. But the rest of it will be really quick and simple, and also very nice and cleanly cut. So I think these are going to be real handy, and means I don't have to pull the Cricut out, which is the point. That's the good part. So what we're going to need is a couple of tongues for the Nurneys. So we got to figure out what size would be good, because the interior of a Nurney mouth is quite small. So we need to figure out what size. But there are a lot of sizes. There's like, I don't know, 10 of these in here. Quite a lot. So we can just kind of place it in there and go, well, that's a little small. A little blur. One size up. They all just nest. Kind of, they're real good. I like this concept a lot. Might be a little small still, but I'll keep that out. I'll try it. If nothing else, that'll be good for smalls. Let's see what the next size up looks like. A little hard to get them out of here. That might be a little large, but let's see. We'll do a couple of each and have a look. See what they actually look like. Why don't you actually just do it? Okay, so here we go. We've got our punches, and let me grab a piece of craft foam here. This is the same piece we used last time, but that'll do the trick. And there we go. We just have now this of course is a cutting mat, so you're gonna make sure you cut it on an appropriate surface. And this is I used to do some leather tooling, so this is how I kind of know about all this stuff. This is a mallet that you use for punching, leather and stuff. This is a nylon mallet. You can also use wood. You don't want to use metal because it's a little too rough, it transmits too much force. This will absorb some of the force, so it's a kind of more controlled. You don't want too much impact damage. So these have this is the blade side. This is the dull side, so you want to make sure you get the blade side down. If they're not terribly sharp, like I can touch it and everything, that's fine. It'll go through this, no problem. But all we got to do is place our cutter down in an area that is clean, and don't try and go whack and do it all at once. You don't have to. Just make sure it doesn't move, and just kind of tap it down. Make sure it doesn't move, and then do the other side. Don't hammer your finger, obviously. Just go all the way around. And then I didn't get it all the way through. That shows you what you could potentially do. Wrong. This is tougher foam than I gave it credit for. How about now? Good heavens, what is going on here? Right, it's a little rough, we can smooth that down, but there we go. There's our stamped tongue. Let's see if we can just do it in one big whack. You know, the thing I said not to do, let's try and do that. Nope, still didn't get all the way through. Wow, what is this stuff made out of? Good heavens. Well, that's just the secret. Just make sure you go all the way through. There we go. That's what you want to see. All it took was a subtle clubbing over the head. Okay. And this is... We can get... Wow. Wow, the puppeteering instincts are gone. Yeah, there we go. Real nice and tidy. So, you know, all we need to do now is just round out the super, or not. Like if you want a pointy tongue, boom, you're done, right? But because craft foam is, as the name implies, foam, you can sand it. And I'm just gonna use a little emery board here. We're just gonna gently get in there and just round that out. And this should give a nice, clean, finished edge. Which you can't see because I have it off camera. Okay, that's not bad. Not bad. And let's check the size. What do you think? Oh, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. There we go. We got it. I'm not going to use this one. This one got a little raggedy on the edge, and we don't need to. So we've got more foam, and we have more elbow grease. So. You can kind of see when you've gone all the way through. I just wasn't paying attention. There we go. And we'll sand it down. Yep, this was a good idea. And it says, freed me from the tyranny of Cricut. The only time I would ever actually need a Cricut, of course, the next challenge is doing uvulas. You know, that little throat bit in the back. These don't need them because they're black mouth interiors, but if you do a red mouth interior, you will often put a uvula back there. And cutting those out are the other things that I would do on the Cricut. And those are kind of tricky because it's a relatively complex shape. I don't know, we may be able to figure out a way of taking these and kind of overlapping them. And I don't know, maybe. Because you can also get these, the ones that I've been using for many different things, is I've lost them. Oh, here they are. You can get these in all kinds of different shapes as well. These are just, you know, circles, right? So I'm thinking maybe we can take like the top bit of one of these and then find a matching radius circle one and kind of finish the cut with the circle. I don't know, maybe we'll see. Might be a bit of finagling, but we can probably get to something close to a good uvula shape with punches. like anything to avoid the cricket. It's terrible. I deeply, deeply regret spending money on it. That was also like 4 years ago, so it's time to move on. Okay, here we go. We've got a couple of nice little nerdy tongues ready to go. So we'll just put these back. Yeah, so there's one thing to look out for if you need to be cutting some precision shapes. Leather die punches are very handy. And go through this craft foam like nobody's business. Highly recommended. Okay. So I'm going to do the usual shading on these. I know it's a little, maybe we should try doing it with the handheld cam. I guess it's not too bad. Yeah, I guess it's all right. Lighting is a bit weird on that angle. I gotta get some new markers here because the tip of this one is like dulled over time. Careful not to do too much. A little shading. Yeah, you can kind of see that. There's a glare that's happening from the light bouncing. This looks much better in real life, I promise. And or two. So of course the other thing we gotta do is the eyelids. Or the sleepy one. Of course, will involve, I keep doing, I realize now that the build streams are on Thursday, it's like eyelid Thursday. Oh, I just realized there's a picture in my, that's not correct. Let's see if we can get rid of that. There we go. Always something wrong. Yeah, like whatever, because we're saving the build stream for later in the week, and I'm usually wrapping it up, and I always do the facial features last, which yes is the fun part, but also, that means if I'm doing eyelids, that's when eyelids get done. Guess what we're doing? More eyelids. Nothing but eyelids. This is the How to Make Puppet Eyelids stream, weekly build stream. Weekly. Huh. That's optimistic. All right. Anyway. I'm almost out of coffee. I feel like I should get more coffee before we continue. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go get some more coffee. Where are we at here? 10:47. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm gonna get more coffee and I'll be right back. So see you momentarily. And we're back. With the morning with some fresh liquid beans, you know it. Oh, this is like cup 5. Who's counting? Kevin drinks too much coffee. What a surprise. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I always forget to like gather all of my materials before we start, and I'm always hunting around at the last second. I'm going to put these tongues aside, which is a very odd sentence. And we're only going to do one pair of eyes with the eyelids. We won't need anything other than those. We will also need, let's go to the top cam. I'm going to keep the handheld camera out here just because we're going to probably want it. Our little, I guess this is a jig, technically, a little holder for marking the eyes. We are going to need the bolts after all. Pencil for aforementioned marking. Let's cut a little piece of fleece because we're going to use this color of fleece. Not going to need a whole lot. We're going to need a very, very tiny piece. Let's cut it from the end that is already cut. Sure our stretch is going in the right direction. And it doesn't really matter. This is big enough for both. There we go. Okay, so those are going that way, so we want to cut it in half this way. And then again this way, and that should be plenty. Try and make a nice straight edge. Yeah, those will do. There's our future eyelid fleece. There. I'm gonna clean up the edge of this a little bit. There we go. Nice and straight-ish. You'd think he'd use a ruler or something, huh? Why use a ruler when you could just eyeball it? Said no competent person ever. Okay. Demon Dreamer, nice to see you. Hello. On the Twitch. I haven't seen anybody pop up on YouTube yet. I wonder if the YouTube chat's actually coming through. If you're, oh no, Jimmy woke up and I didn't close the door all the way. He's trying to push his way in here. Hello. Okay, we're getting a Jimmy visit. Is that new yellow fabric style soft? It's very soft and very thin. Jimmy, what are you doing? Come on. All right, fine. We're getting a Jimmy break. Hi. Yeah, did you wake up? Here we go. Oh, there we go. The star of the stream. James Tiberius Cat. Hello. Wave hello. He's like, don't make me do this. There. Sit on my lap. Can you be in camera? If you're gonna interrupt me, you got to stay on camera. That's the deal. I'm getting internet points right now. No, he just wants to lay down on my lap. Why? Because he's a big suck, right? Yeah. Okay. For babies he'd love to. It's true. It's one he's a lot of love, particularly at 5 a.m. And Kevin can't sleep, you say. What a surprise. There we go. There's our Jimmy cameo for this stream. Oh, now he's laying down. Now he's genuinely just in my lap. I gotta get the glue out soon. He always knows every time I need to close the door to get the barge out or do something that involves him being in a position where it would be dangerous for him to be around. He always knows. He does this with video games too. Whenever I'm in a boss fight, that's the time he's up in my lap. And often unannounced, and will just jump up with the claws out, and it's just like, ah! It's a bit surprising when you're having a tense battle, and you suddenly get a Jimmy in your lap. Okay? You know? Hi. Yep. And into the mic, please. Okay, it looks like Indies Keep came in, because I didn't see Indies Keep come in. I didn't see the chat. I think we're not getting the YouTube chat. Excuse me a minute. Let me just check that. I think we're not getting YouTube chat. Let's see. Ah, we're not. We're getting the wrong. It was the wrong one. Oh, look, there's people on YouTube. Hello, everybody on YouTube. I haven't been seeing your chat. My apologies. Yeah, I picked the wrong one. That was kind of a me problem, but there were two sources for the chat because it changes every single time, so I have to add it again every single time. And I picked the wrong one. Okay. Yeah, now we know. All right. Now we should be good. Somebody on YouTube say something. That looks like it's active. Yes. Ah, I see. There we go. Yeah, we got it. There's Indies Keep. I just messaged on Discord about it. Oops. I'm not even looking at Discord right now. I'm sorry. I've got one monitor, so I've got a limited real estate. There we go. We got it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, Mike's in the chat. Okay, good. Yeah, look, it's here. Everybody's here. This is the point of the unified chat window. Okay. Excellent. Hi, everybody on YouTube. I haven't been ignoring you on purpose. I just didn't realize you were there because I picked the wrong window. It's literally a choice between a random string, like an ID, random string of characters, random string of characters. Which one do you want? I'll just do both. From now on, I'll just do them all. Whatever they are. Whatever live stream thing is there, I'll just add it. I don't know why there were two live sources as well. I think maybe one was the previous VOD or something like that. So, I don't know. The way YouTube does chat on a technical end is really messed up. So, that's why it's the outlier. Everything else is fine. Does the YouTube chat normally show Twitch as well? So, no. It used to, but I've disabled the relay bot because it was messing up this unified chat thing, because of course that would also, because it was relaying between the two different chats, it was showing everything twice basically. If it was on Twitch or YouTube, it would show it twice on our on-screen display. So hey, look, we've got PeerTube as well. Yeah, what all you are PeerTube, by the way. Thank you very much. Love the Fediverse folks. Y'all are great. Yeah, so that is, I guess we didn't go through, or you were here when I went through this last time. Yes, this new unified on-screen chat, this is what you should be looking at from now on. This is where you will see absolutely everything, and that includes Twitch, YouTube, PeerTube, and OwnCast. This is it. This is everything. This is the only way to do it, so it's all everything. I have fixed my Twitch so that in the future I can let you know if YouTube isn't working. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. But it just gets weird. But as you can see, there is very much a lot of thank you, Jimmy's going away. A lot of utility to having this as our thing, because now I don't have to be the relay between the Fediverse stuff and everybody else. It's just there. It's just on screen. Everybody can read it. It's all good. We're all one big happy family, and that's the point. We all get unified by puppets. I don't know. I'm trying something. Yeah, see, there we go. All four sources, all four endpoints to where I'm streaming are now have a unified chat display at least. So that is very handy. Okay, now that we've had our little Jimmy interlude here, we can get back to what I was doing. And I'm going to close the door now that he's left. Expect him to be yelling momentarily. Anyway, back to making the eyelids. So yeah, we've got our fleece. Which one? Doesn't really matter. They're all the same. It's our fleece, our jig, our eyes. We need the black craft foam sticky back stuff for the liner. Oh, that brings up an interesting point. Let me, actually this camera is fine. So if I'm gonna do our little kind of washer ring here to do the black rim around the outside. Of course, these are two pieces. So when I do the eyelid, how am I gonna do this? Am I gonna put the eyeliner, the little strip of black foam across this and then socket it? Or, which is, here's a spoiler, no, that's not what we're gonna do. Because the craft foam has some thickness, it would get into, this is such a tight fit that having the craft foam wrap around the edge here, that would really interfere with the kind of socketing of this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue this together first, and then we're gonna put the black line around the entire thing. That is probably the best way to do it. JR24, how's Canada doing these days? Better than you. No, I'm sorry. That's terrible, but also kind of true. Good heavens. Yeah, we're good, thanks. Hope you're better. Hope things get better, because wow. Oh, what can you say? I don't, obviously we try not to get into it on this channel, but yeah, there's a lot going on, and please, American friends, stay sane if you can, as hard as that is at the moment. I know we still have friends down there. I know it's not all people like you know who. Anyway, back to puppets. I'm gonna glue these together and then we're gonna do the eyelid. That's the TLDR. So let me just do that before we start. I am just gonna use a little bit of hot glue because this is PLA plastic, and this will take the hot glue quite well. And I've already got the glue gun heated up and ready to go, so. Bonjour. Yeah. I'm dying a little every day. So it's, you know, it's fine. Oh, yeah, gosh, guys, I don't know. I know that the actions of a few very, very awful people do not speak for the entire population. Don't worry. Anyway, we'll just get a little hot glue, glue your socket in, everything will be good. The hard part right now for me, you know, related to all that stuff is like we were thinking about hopefully going to New York again at some point this spring, just to have another weekend, maybe going back to the Museum of the Moving Image, where all of this started, and having a little kind of bringing the Oracle or something, and having a little kind of seeing if anybody else could come and have a little meetup, whatever. That's not happening, kids. We're not going to the States anytime soon. I'll be traveling over to San Antonio, Texas tomorrow. Oh, well, you know, I don't know anything about San Antonio, but hopefully it's not bad. I heard like, what is it? Houston is pretty, left-leaning as far as Texas goes. So, you know, I don't know. But yeah, so like all travel plans to the States are off for the foreseeable future. It's not gonna happen for multiple reasons, but definitely what's going on right now is among them, and I think you're going to find that a lot. Guess what, folks? Nobody is an island, including the United States, and you cannot go it alone. And unfortunately, it's the people of the United States that are going to find that out and suffer the most from it. So, isolationism and xenophobia, guess what, are bad. That's the Operation Puppet official position. Isolationism and bigotry and xenophobia are bad. Shocking, I know. Oh, see, Jimmy's yelling. Jimmy agrees. Anyway, back to puppets. Yeah, there we go. So these are now a single piece. So this will be much easier to work with now. I need to get the craft foam for the eyeliner, and then we can actually start making the eyelids. Where is any of it? Do I have any out? Yes, I do. And it's not cut, so we're going to need to cut it. That's how logical things work. Okay, so here we go. We got our black craft foam. Table's getting crowded. Love is the way, absolutely, but it's not even love. It's just like logic. I don't know. It's like, just be sensible. Move fast and break things is what toddlers do, okay? You know, like... Anyway. It's not even that the lunatics are in charge of the asylum. It's the children, like emotional children are in charge. And it's just not... There's no... Anyway. I don't know. I think probably a lot of kids are more sensible than the people in charge right now. What are you gonna do? Roll with it. That's the only thing you can do. There's no other choice. Yeah, no. Antonio is where the Alamo is. Oh, I kind of know what that is. Right. I've watched King of the Hill. Okay. We're gonna cut a little strip of this and hopefully do it evenly. I gotta focus because I'm using a very sharp blade here. Let me focus, chat. This is where Kevin cuts himself. And, hey, that actually looks pretty good. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting caught up on chat. Yeah. Yep, I don't know. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. Being Canadian, I'm sorry. Jimmy's sorry too. Jimmy's yelling again at the door, as we predicted. So here we go. We have our little strip of craft foam. I'm just going to fold this in half and cut it in half, and one for each eye. And yes, way longer than we need, but that's on purpose. And if you see me do this before, you know why. And if you haven't seen me do this before, you're about to find out why. Oh, Jimmy is at the door yelling his fool head off because I dared to close the door. It was like I tricked him. Is it sticky back foam? It is indeed very, very handy. You can't rely on the stickiness because it does kind of wear off and this stuff wants to lift away, but it's there to kind of hold it in place temporarily while we glue it around the back. And I will be demonstrating that momentarily. But okay, now we are ready to actually think about making the eyelids. So the first thing we need to do is mark where the eyelids are going to go. Let me see if I can... Which would be the better camera? Would it be this one? Or, oh, you know what? Maybe it would be this one. Let's try this. This looks okay. Excuse me, shaky cam. I'm just gonna... There's our new blue friend here. These are going to be for you. What I'm going to do is, since we've got our eyes here, I'm just going to take the box here, open it up, and pop the bolt through the hole. So this will just anchor the eye down and keep it in place just while we mark where the eyelids are going to go. Just so they're both even. And there we are. It's just sort of in their crosshairs here. It's a little hole here, and that's where we insert. See, the one thing I didn't get out was the compass. Yeah, you're definitely not getting less government interference right now, are you? You know? Okay. So I am going to go just at the halfway point here, I think. For sleepy about halfway closed is about right. So, here we go. Real easy. It's nice to just have the compass go like that. And this way, you can see we get a nice even line. Oh, his son is homesick today watching together. He recognizes the blue puppet from the photos he shared. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if you were here when I mentioned it. I did not. I said this is for a member of the Operation Puppet family. I did not say who it is for. Because I haven't got permission, but you know, if that person happens to be watching, maybe they can let me know. But yeah, here's how the magic's done. Hope you're learning. I'm not necessarily the world's best teacher, but I do try. Okay, so there we go. And when you've done one eye, you got to do both. And I hope you feel better as well. Okay, here we go. So we have our marks where we're going to put our eyelids. Milo, nice that you could make it and join us. And welcome to the Operation Puppet family. Very glad you're here. Shout out Milo. Okay. My favorite puppet is Sam the Eagle. Sam's pretty good. Would be very good for them to use Sam in a parody role, which he always kind of was, let's face it, but a lot of material right now. It's all I'm gonna say. Like, there's a lot to work with right now. I'll write for you. Disney, get in touch. Speaking of writing, there is a new Oracle episode in the hopper, FYI. I literally just have to take it out of here and put it in some place where I can read the words, but hopefully soon. Okay, here we go. So we've got our eyelids. I know that's, the lighting makes that weird to see, but this is where we're at. So all we have to do now is where we get the mask out and everything. This is where the dangerous glue comes out. Milo, pay attention, because this is some safety tips coming up here. So we've got our little pieces of fleece. Let me make sure these are going to be enough. Yeah, that looks good. So this is a little lesson for Milo, who may not have joined us previously. The kind of stuff that we often make puppet skin out of is fleece, not felt. That's a misnomer. We hardly ever use felt for anything. Sometimes for the interiors of the mouth, for example, the interior of this mouth. The black stuff in here, that's actually felt. This stuff, the blue stuff, is fleece, and that's of course faux fur. Felt is not stretchy. Fleece is stretchy. That's the big difference, and that's why we use it for the skin, so we can kind of get it to lay properly across the surface of whatever we're putting it over. Jimmy is yelling again. I should let him in so Milo, I don't know if Milo was here when Jimmy was here before. Maybe later. I actually need to get on with this. I have to finish this today, and I got a lot of stitching left to do. The reason that we use fleece is because it's stretchy. And most fleece only stretches more in one direction than the other. So what you do have to do is pay attention to where the stretch is going, because it matters. You usually want to go across the surface of the thing and not vertical. So in this case, we want to, because we're going to be stretching, making an eyelid, and we're stretching it across the eye. So we want to make sure that the stretch is going across like that and not vertically like that. There's hardly any give there. But this is all kind of springy and elastic, and that's good. You want that. So that's just a little thing that we have to pay attention to in puppet building, is where's the direction of the stretch. That's really important. So in this case, yes, they're both going this way. So these are oriented correctly to how we want them to go across the eyelid. So what we're going to do now is put some glue on the back of the fleece and the part of the eyelid where the eyelid will actually be, and then glue them together. Now, the kind of glue that we use for this is all for Milo, because everybody else has been here and knows all this stuff already, but that's good. I like having new people, and you're learning stuff, Milo. This is the stuff that we use for most professional puppet building. This is just one brand. There are many brands. This is one of the most popular brands of industrial contact cement. This stuff is dangerous. The chemicals that come off of this stuff will cause you lung damage if you breathe them in for a long time. So don't do that. Safety precautions are necessary when dealing with this stuff. Once it's dry, it's fine. Don't eat it, you know, but don't eat your puppets anyway. That's a good safety tip right there. If we've learned anything from past puppet builders, always wear safety equipment. Yes, absolutely. Love your technique for the eyelids. Yeah, it's real fun. They end up looking real good. Danger honey, there we go. We call this danger honey for a reason, and you'll see the reason too. It looks like honey. It's why we call it danger honey, and it's dangerous. So that's why we call it danger honey. At least Operation Puppet calls it danger honey. I've never heard anybody else use that, but you know, we have our own things here. We're a family. We do our own thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open the window, and I have a fan that will vent out. I also am sitting, coincidentally, under an air duct. That air duct is bringing air in. So what we have over the work surface here is a nice circulation of air, where we've got fresh air coming in, and the air with all of the fumes is being pushed out. That's important. The other thing, two other things. One, handling this stuff, safety gloves, super important. Don't want to get this stuff on your skin. Second thing is a respirator. This is like COVID masks, but times a billion. This is going to let anything through. You know, painters will wear this. Like, this is used in all kinds of applications, industrial applications where you don't want to breathe anything but air in. This is what will do it. I also happen to have a little mic that's attached to this, so hopefully you'll be able to understand me. My voice will be muffled, but I can still speak, and hopefully you'll at least be able to make out what I'm saying. If I didn't have the mic on this, you wouldn't hear anything. It would just be like, you don't want that, because I'm doing a live stream. So the first thing I'm going to do is open the window, get the fan going, which we may actually be able to see in this camera, kind of, yeah. These cameras are I'm always moving these around, so I'm never quite sure where they are. I only have the preview of one of them, so technical limitation. It's also a beautiful day out there. What's the temperature? 2 whole degrees above zero. I don't know what that is in American. Probably about 34, because 32 is freezing, right? Fahrenheit. Who knows? Okay, there we go. So we've got the fan going. Fan is venting out. It's not pushing air in, it's pushing air out. Oh, nice mask, yeah. It's all right. I actually think I need to change these soon. These filters in here are changeable, so probably need to change them soon. Now here's the unfun part. Hey, I gotta take my jewelry off to put the gloves on. And I gotta put the mask on. Let me have another sip of coffee and another throat lozenge before I do that. Your inner Bane, yeah. Yeah, you do end up, there's a reason Tom Hardy talked like that. It had nothing to do with the audio mixing. Okay, so, first things first, gloves. The reason the gloves are first is because I gotta do this, which I can't do with the mask on. It's 35 degrees there in American. Okay, good. I was close. I was close. I was just guessing. What's a bit above freezing? That's what it is. It's a bit above freezing. So it's like summer out there. Seriously, I think it was Tuesday. Tuesday was beautiful. Which is the one day this week I haven't actually been able to get out because I was doing all this. It was literally the day I figured out what to do with the hair on the blue one. Tomorrow I think is also supposed to be gorgeous, so I'm gonna try and be getting out for a walk then. Okay, hands of blue. Now I'm gonna turn the mic on this one. This is when the audio is probably gonna get weird because I'll be technically running on two mics. There we go, mic is on and connected. Trying to talk quietly so we don't overload the audio. And there we go. Hopefully you can understand me. This is the worst part. Me trying to figure out how to get the glasses to sit in a place where I can still see out of them appropriately, because I gotta have them down a little bit because they're bifocals. Okay, how's that? That seems all right. Okay. It's not even the mask that's the worst part, it's the glasses that are the worst part. Oop, wrong camera. Okay, we are ready to go with the Danger Honey. Audio is good, thank you. Is this open? Yeah, it's open. Okay, this tin's almost done. Thankfully, I have another. But here's why we call it Danger Honey, because it looks like honey. You know what? Let's go to this. I gotta say the colors on this camera are much nicer than the other one. So what we gotta do, for contact cement, you have to put the cement on both surfaces that you're gonna glue down to. And then you have to let it dry till it's almost completely dry. Not quite, a little sticky. So there's always a question of which surface do you do first. Now, thankfully, you've got some working time. This stuff stays able to be used for a while. So you don't really have to rush. So it doesn't really matter which surface you put it on first. I generally like putting it on the fabric second because for some reason it seems to dry on the fabric quicker. I don't know if that's a feeling or if that's accurate. The other thing I like to do if I'm doing something small is rather than use, you know, the big goopy brush that comes with it, is to use something smaller that these makeup applicators have a little foam tip, so not a Q-tip, because a Q-tip is just well, cotton over it and it will fragment and get all kinds of pieces in it. This little foam tip, that will give us a nice tool to work with and to paint the glue into nice little areas. So there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to get some glue on our makeup applicator. And hopefully this is more or less on camera. I know the lighting gets weird, you can't really see. But we're just putting some glue. You don't want a lot of it, you just want a nice light little coat. We're just coming up to that line. It's just like a coloring book. Just stay inside the lines. There we go. A little more glue. And I'm also going to put some around the back, and you'll see why momentarily. I'm also going to just around the same area. And this is one of the reasons I like leaving the bolt in, because it kind of gives me a surface to work off of and a place to hold it. Forgive me if I'm getting off camera here. I'm actually looking at what I'm doing and not the camera. So I did not see the live action Lilo and Stitch trailer. I'm actually not much of a Disney fan. You gotta talk to Jamie for that, and Jamie's not here at the moment. However, maybe somebody in chat did. Is it good? I mean, as good as it can be, I guess. It's a live action of a cartoon. As much sense as that makes. Alright, so same dealio. That's good so far. Alright, good. I saw the photos, they did a great, they did a great job. Okay, cool. Hey, I'm always happy to have, character designers get more work. That's a good thing. Here we go. So that's that surface. For the fabric, since we do want to cover most of this, this little tool is probably not the best for doing that. So I will use the brush, but I really gotta make sure there isn't a lot of glue on it. And go very, very light. We don't need to worry about covering the whole surface. You just don't want to saturate it. You do want to come right up to the edge though. That's important. And yeah, we are going much further than we need to. There's way more surface here than we need. Well, that's on purpose. There's a young person watching. I have to remember not to swear. I mean, I don't normally swear on a puppet stream anyway, but I gotta be careful. Be mindful of that. Don't let them listen to the podcast. There's no rules on the podcast. Or, if they're at an age where that's fine. That's a parental decision. That's not a me decision. Milo, you're not allowed to listen to the podcast until your dad says it's okay. Wink. Jamie should be rated M on the podcast. Yeah. Hey, we all should. Come on. Okay.
there we go. We are ready. Now, as I said, you want to let this stuff dry till it's almost completely dry. We don't want to sit here and wait for that on the live stream. That's why we use a hairdryer. And I'm just going to turn off the heating element. The problem is, of course, this is going to create a big wind and all this stuff is going to blow all over the place. So I got to be real careful. I'm going to hold stuff in place. Let's see. There we go. We're going to throw the horns and then we're going to dry the glue. Throw the horns, dry the glue. It's like wipe on, wax off, or whatever that is. Okay. So this show isn't Avenue Q. No, definitely not. I made a decision a long time ago that I wasn't going to do adult-oriented stuff with the puppet stuff, particularly. Is with the podcast where it's just me and the guys hanging out. It's more flexible, and that is a more adult-oriented thing anyway. So I got feelings about the adult puppetry thing. Okay, so anyway, what we do now is, this is where it gets a bit tricky, is we just follow, come up to that line, and that's probably tricky to see. I have to see what I'm doing. And we stretch the fleece, just follow that line, you see? Now this is why we put it around the back as well, because now we've got this situation. I'm going to trim this until we've just got a little ridge. These are non-stick scissors. This is why we use too much fleece. We've got to make sure we have enough to wrap around. It's always better to have too much than not enough. All right, so there we go. So we've got that. And now we're just going to wrap it around the back. And this makes a nice finished edge. And that's why we put the glue around the back as well. So there we go. So we still have to do the eye line yet, but that's coming up. But there we go. See how nice and tidy that looks? Got a little speck of something on there. Okay, there we go. Anyway, so since there are two eyes, do it again. I am literally humming a Kim Dracula song because I'm wearing the shirt. Speaking of things that aren't child appropriate. Okay, there we go. Good stuff. Looks very nice. Look at that. I know they're all wonky, but you see where we're going. It's hard to keep this even on camera. There we go. There's some good looking eyes. Okay, so now we got to do the eyeliner. And we're actually done with the barge. Thank goodness. I'll be able to take the mask off. Just put this over here. And I'm going to do that right now because Good heavens, I do not like wearing the mask. And yet I still do. For safety. Love safety. Glasses first, otherwise you're going to send them flying.
Speaking very softly. Okay, here we go. We're back on a single mic. Okay. Whew. Now that you can actually understand what I'm saying. We've got our sticky back craft foam here. We've got these nice long lines. And so all we're going to do is peel off the sticker bit. And we're going to carefully put this along the edge here. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to take the bolt out. We're going to wrap it around. We can actually trim it down a little bit now. We still want a fair amount of length. And we're going to wrap this around and just kind of tuck it in the back here. And then we're going to drop some hot glue on there and glue it down momentarily. We'll do those both at the same time. And there we go. There's a nice, and see, with the black rim, it creates a really nice finished look. It's worth just spending the time and making them, you know, doing the thing. Yes, these are 3D printed eyes. They are indeed a Demon Dreamer. All of the, oh, my picture-in-picture thing is back again. All of the stuff that I'm doing now with eyes, it's all 3D printed. I don't even consider anything else anymore. It's just so handy and flexible. Like, I can literally decide a couple of hours before I make the puppet, what shape do I want these eyes, and just make them. It's so good. I'm gonna take the bolt off right now. We've got a little bit of loose fabric back here I want to trim down as well. There we go. Yeah, I don't want to advocate for 3D printing everything, because I still think it's good and important to do a lot of stuff by hand. But there are places where it is appropriate, and this is one of them. You know, it's one of those things where, like, you know, the machine and the automation actually adds something to the creative process. It doesn't take something away. These are important factors. Are you listening, Sam Altman? I bet you Sam Altman watches this stream. You don't know who that is as the CEO of OpenAI. I got feelings. Okay, there we go. We got our two eyes, nice and ready to go here. Now I am going to drop a little hot glue just to make sure these stay anchored down. They probably will anyway, because when we screw this on, of course, we're putting this bolt in the back, and this is going to be flush against the skull. So these are going to be, you know, sort of anchored down anyway, but this is just for a little bit of insurance. You know, I always try and make my puppets as robust as possible. So I don't want things to go easily wrong. I always think I don't want things to ever go wrong because, you know, things happen. Physical reality is. So not a lot, just a little dab as this glue sets, just to hold them in place. Tricky part here is, of course, the hot glue initially will actually try and make it lift off, because it's basically negating the sticker glue that's on there. So you kind of got to give it, like, watch it, let it do its thing, let the glue cool down and start to solidify, but you also want to sort of tap it down. But his AI crawler does watch his stream to learn how to build puppets. Yeah. Yeah, you know, well, but we can just assume that everything is being gobbled up by that machine. Whether they know it or not, it's just automated now, right? Here we go. Be careful touching hot glue. Make sure it's cool first. There we go. So those little dabs of hot glue will just make sure that stays anchored down. Little insurance. There we go. There's our eyes. They're done. Done and done. Other than the pupils, of course. It's a whole other ball game. But here we are. Lovely, lovely. And of course, we'll have our other eyes here that are just going to be wide open. Like so. So now we're ready to do the mounting points for the eyes. This is the really fun part. I don't know if you're still watching Milo, but this is more safety lecture coming up. Fortunately, AI can't make physical things like puppets. Well, I don't know, attach your Midjourney to 3D printer and see what happens. Nightmares, that's what happens. What if you could hallucinate and it became real? What do you mean, what if? Okay. So, what we're doing, let me go to this camera. Again, regular viewers will be used to this. But I'm gonna move the handheld camera out of the way here. We really gotta be careful because we've got hair and stuff around now. 70th anniversary of Kermit the Frog and Muppet franchise. You know what? I did realize that because who is it? Somebody at Kermitainment, I think, on Blue Sky. Or it might be Tough Pigs are doing like a 70-year retrospective. I remember seeing that. Honestly, my nose is not terribly to the ground with Muppet stuff anymore. I'm just busy doing my own thing, you know. Okay, so here we go. We got our puppets that we need to figure out where the eyes are gonna go. Now, of course, the advantage of the 3D printed eyes is because they just screw on with these bolts, is you can actually remove them. These aren't permanent, you can take them off. But we still have to make a hole to push the bolt through and then screw it on. So that's what we got to do next, is figure out where these eyes are going to get mounted. To do that, I often will close the mouth first. I didn't realize how late it was. We got 50 minutes in this stream left. Good heavens. This will probably be the last thing we do then. But this will also be close to finished. It'll be, well, I got to do the hair for this one next, but that won't take long. But really all that's, the time consuming thing that's left is to finish stitching the wig on for this one. That will just take a couple hours of me sitting here listening to a podcast, you know. That's actually kind of relaxing. Well, no, actually, now that I think about it, this isn't necessarily relaxing because it's very, very tricky and fiddly to like get in there and have to move the hair out of the way and try and stitch. It is a bit of a struggle. Worth it. I think it looks great, but it's not necessarily relaxing. Okay, so there we go. What I do, I've shown this before. These are just like a little chip clip bag closers, little clamps. And this is what I use to keep the mouth closed if I'm either going to do, you know, photography, like just shoot product photos, or if we're doing this kind of thing where I want to figure out what the mounting points are going to be, because the shape of the head kind of changes when the mouth is closed, and you want this to be the neutral position. Mouth closed is the neutral position, not mouth open. So you just use those clips to hold the mouth closed, and that way we can get a kind of more accurate assessment of the shape of the head. Now, I love the hair is just kind of like, those dimples look really good too. Anyway, stop admiring your own work, Evan. So the way we usually mark these is I'll take the eyes that are going to go on them. AI Muppet Show, oh no. Yeah, don't. I did a whole Oracle episode on that. If you want to see what that would look like, you could already go and watch the Oracle episode called AI. So, okay. So, oh, these are gonna look good. So I think sort of lower down around there. I know they're not even. Don't worry about that. It's hard to see. Yeah, that's good. I like that. So what I do is when I get them around the point that I think that's about where they should be, I'll hold one in place, take one away, grab a pin, and then I'll gently lift this up and just kind of eyeball where the center point is. And then I'll pop a pin in the center point, put it back down. Get the other eye about even. Lift that one away. Figure out where the center is. Pop a pin in there, and there we go. There's our pin markers. So now that we've got our pins more or less in place, now we can look at the pins and see how even are they, because we've got a more precise, literally pinpoint location. I think this one needs to come down and over to the side a little bit. That looks pretty good. Okay, we'll leave it there. And the other one, we're just going to do the same thing over here with this one. Just grab these. These I did not glue the little black washer things on. There we go. That'll work. A nice kind of abstract character. That'll work. You see, you just things that just happen by accident, and you go, oh, you know what? That looks good. All right. I think I want to trade stands, actually. Yes, that is a paper towel holder. And yes, this is a piece of a cat tree that we didn't end up using. Very, very handy puppet stands. So, but I want, this one's at a better height for doing this, so I'm just going to swap these around. I am a big fan of recycling and upcycling and reusing stuff. Why throw it in a landfill if it's still useful? It's all about how creative you are. Right, this is very soft foam. The foam that both of these heads are made of is very, very soft, and it kind of gets misshapen very easily. So, FYI. Okay. So about there. Get a center point. About there. And the reason you do it like this, and not, for example, because we do have a kind of center line here, you don't just want to go by base of where the center line is, because, for example, this is foam and soft. Things can get shifted around, these things are going to compress and stretch. Where the visual center is not necessarily where the the center line is, if you see what I mean. So the yellow one reminds me of the aliens from Lilo and Stitch. Okay. I see your chain of association now. Gotcha. Check. I have seen Lilo and Stitch just a long time ago. Barely remember it. It was funny if I remember correctly. I did laugh. All right, let me just double check because I've been yakking. Okay. So there is about what we're looking at for this one. It's hard to see because the pins have yellow heads. So, okay, I think actually that's not bad. I think maybe we'll leave it there. Maybe this one goes up and in a little bit. How's that? So now that we've got our pins in place, I do also want to mark these by just a little tiny dot. Before I take the pin out, I'll just make a little mark where the pin used to be. You can barely see that. So just pull the pin out a little bit, make a mark, and then remove the pin. Just to make sure we're as, accurate as is reasonable. And likewise with our blue friend here. Now, the nice part about this technique is you don't necessarily only get one shot. In fact, so what we're going to do is we're going to make holes where these marks are. But let's say you want some options. So let's say you're going to use eyes that are this big. Well, of course, they could be up here. They could be down here. They could be wider apart. They could be closer together, etc., etc. As long as you don't go outside of the radius of that eye, you can put several holes in here, and as long as the eye will cover up all of the holes, you can change position a little bit of where you want the eyes. And I know for a fact that, like Swazzle, for example, they have a line of rental puppets that they do, and this is what they'll do with those. They'll make like the eyes at varying heights, and so you can remove it, put a new one on, or of a different shape or whatever, and it will be neat. So that alien only had one eye. Pleaky. I don't know any of these things. These are all. Jamie, I need you. Where are you? Okay, so here comes the safety lecture. The way we're going to make the holes, we could take a sharp, pointy thing, poke a hole. That'll work, won't necessarily be the best, and it's very destructive. You'll tear things and it won't go well. What we are going to use, you'll notice that the window is still open and the fan is still on. That's for a reason. We are going to use a piece of wire. This is copper-clad steel welding rod. This is also what I use for the arm rods. And we're going to put that in a pair of vice grips. There is a reason that that's blackened on the end, because we are going to heat this up until it's glowing hot and then burn a hole through where we want the holes. And what that will do, because this is synthetic fabric going into foam, it will actually melt the foam and create, when the foam then settles again, it will create a nice, clean, finished edge, not finished, but sealed edge. It's cauterizing a wound, basically. The original Pleakley was one of the actors from The Kids in the Hall, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, okay, now I get the references, Canadian cultural references. So anyway, the way we heat it up is this is a culinary butane torch. It's the kind of thing you use for creme brulee, for example. You know, all those creme brulees you make. They use these in restaurants a lot for like searing a steak or whatever. Now, of course, this is going to have fire shooting out of it. Literally, be very, very careful where you point these things. You can easily set hair on fire, for example, so I have to be extra, extra careful. So make sure it's pointing away from anything that can possibly catch fire. The hot wire part is the favorite part of it. I know. It's scary. It's also neat. This will also make a bunch of smoke that you don't want to breathe in, so don't stand over it. Let the smoke go out, be carried out of the window with the fan, hence the fan. But, all right, here we go. Oh no, oh, I didn't turn the, there we go. I hope I have enough butane in this thing. You see I'm holding it far away from the puppets. And I'm heating up the end of the rod. You gotta work kind of quickly because you want to get it while it's still hot. You're heating it up till it starts to glow orange, which it is. Now that we've got those marks, I'm gonna poke it through, and we're gonna kind of wiggle it around a little bit to make a slightly larger hole because the bolts are kind of wide. So here we go. A couple of smoking holes. Nice, huh? And do it again. So we're gonna have to heat this up again. This is already too cool to. Could you use a soldering iron instead? I mean, probably. If you can, I don't know if you can get soldering tips that are sort of narrow like this. It would probably gum it up, though. You probably wouldn't want to. I'm sure you could. I don't know that you would want to. But yeah, as long as it's hot enough to melt the foam, then yeah, it will work. Like, it'll make a hole. What the state of the tool is after that, I don't know. I'm running out of fuel. Oh no. Hopefully I have enough to do this one. I don't want to have to fuel this up again. I'm not sure how much butane I still have. Okay. We just gotta roll with it. Just whatever it is, let it be. Here we go. Okay, we got them both. So this is still quite hot, and it will be quite hot for a while. I'm gonna set this right here in front of the fan to let it cool down. And I'm not gonna touch it. Butane torch is off and locked, so I can't accidentally turn it on. Fire safety tips. I also have a safety kit up here, and there's a fire extinguisher in the next room. Always know where your safety equipment is. And with that, look at this, 11:57 according to my clock. That was pretty freaking accurate right there. Nice. Okay, there we go. Now the puppets look like Ditto Pokemon with those holes in his eyes. Yeah, they sure do. Oh, I've got the lines on my face from the mask. Unpleasant. Here we go, right there. Yeah, anyway, so that's how we do that. And then I will show that. I'm out of time anyway. We take the bolts and we put them inside and we poke the bolt through that hole, and then we screw the eye down onto it and sort of, align them, make sure they're all even, and that's it. So we're close to being done. I will be finished these today, I hope. But yeah, there we go. Thank you everybody for joining me. I'm sorry once again, YouTube, for not unintentionally ignoring you for the first half of the stream. Really didn't mean to do that. I will check that next time. I know it was a problem last time too. It's because of how weird YouTube chat is. But as you can see, when it all gets rolling together, it all works well. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining me. Shout out Milo once again if you're watching, or if you're watching the VOD, which is always a possibility. These do go up on YouTube and PeerTube. So if you're watching an Owncast, this will also get auto-archived onto the PeerTube server, so you can go back and review all these golden words of wisdom, which of course is definitely what I want to leave to posterity. And I'm pleased to see that the app kept the music going. The music is still going, so we have a solution for that too. Everything more or less went well. Okay. Thank you as always, everybody. We are recording the next episode of the podcast tomorrow. In theory, I would like to do some more game streaming this weekend, so stay tuned to all the Pixels and Puppet stuff. Of course, all of the links are at operationpuppet.com. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. You know the drill. You're tired of hearing people say it. Yeah, catch you on join the Discord, etc. Okay. In theory, we'll be doing this again next week, probably at the same time and same channels that you're watching on right now. So thank you as always. Yes, they do. We'll link it on the PeerTube community on Lemmy too. Oh, thank you. Yes, excellent. Good. Hey, look at that new follower. Nice. Thank you very much. See, you gotta say the thing. People just don't, it's not on the top of their brain. If you put it on the top of their brains, and they go, oh yeah, I should do that, right? So yeah, thank you very much for the new follow. Nice to see you. Welcome to the Puppet family. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you. Thank you very much for being here. Same bat time, same bat channel, all that stuff. We will see you when we see you. Adios.